Southern Cameroonians, fellow Ambazonians, dear viewers, welcome to Amba Community Hour. I am your host, Babareko. Our program for today is Building Strong Ambazonian Communities. This is episode 2 of our program. And before we dive deep into this program for today, we would like to remind you to subscribe to our channel, Amba Community Hour. We'll remind you and ask you please to share our content and like our content so that we can reach a wider audience. And it is our tradition to always start by paying homage to all our fallen heroes and thank them for paying the ultimate price in the liberation struggle of the people of Southern Cameroons. We will not also leave out our people on ground zero for the sacrifices that they have also made in this liberation struggle, especially observing Country Sunday, which comes on every Monday. It's continued to be a symbol of our resistance, a symbol of our tenacity, to show the oppressor that the people of Southern Cameroon are ready to seize their freedom. We thank you all for those sacrifices. We will not leave out our brothers and sisters who are also languishing in the dungeons of La Republic of Cameroon and also in the Southern Cameroons. We thank you so much for the sacrifices you are making, and we are here to remind you that you continue to be the face of the revolution, and you should keep on because we are not far away from our destination. We will not leave out all refugees and those who are also internally displaced. I will now move on to give this word to our fellow comrades who are on the panel to introduce themselves so that we can get deeper into the program for today. And I'll start with Comrade Liman, who is from the Ambazonian community in the USA. Welcome, Comrade Liman, to Amba Community Hour. Welcome to episode 2 of Building Strong Ambazonian Communities. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Babareko. It's a pleasure for me to join this wonderful team on Amba Community Hour. A shout out to the Amazonian community worldwide and for our boys standing on the ground and protecting our families, our children, and all our entire territory. I want to extend a special greeting to them and also to those in jail. Shout out to you, Comrade Ayuk Tabe, and all the team standing strong in face of oppression and marginalization, which you guys never call upon yourself. I just want to give them a shout out and encourage them to stay strong. Even those guys in Prison Central, those in Bamenda, Boya, courage to you guys. Freedom is coming. Thank you very much, and I'm really pleased to be part of this panel.
That's great, Comrade Liman. It's a pleasure to have you here today on this program, and we look forward to having you here on future programs. And I want to thank you for the great work that you are doing in building strong Amazonian communities. Next on the panel, we have Chibasaba, who is known on Amba Community Hour because he has participated in many programs here. Chibasaba, welcome to episode 2 of Building Strong Amazonian Communities.
Yes, greetings, fellow Ambazonians, and thank you, Babareko. I'm happy to be back again here on episode 2 of the program Building Strong Ambazonian Communities. My name is Asabankong Fuamo from the Southern Cameroons Associations in Germany, and I'm happy to be here. I'm also saluting our people on the ground, on ground zero, and I'm also happy to that we have our Comrade Lehman from the US, so that we can talk about how we can join hands and build strong Ambazonian communities, especially in the diaspora. Thank you.
Thank you, Chibasaba. Fellow viewers, as a reminder, our program for today is Building Strong Ambazonian Communities, episode 2. On the last episode, we're here also with Comrade Derek Yu from the South African community, but who is unable to be with us today. And we touch on the advantages of building strong Amazonian communities. And we also talk about the reason why it is very, very necessary for all Amazonians worldwide to wake up from slumber and finish the job that is left for them to do, because it is our time for us to act. We talk about why it is necessary at this juncture for Amazonians worldwide to continue to do what it is their responsibilities. And today we'll continue to talk on that and other things that tools that Amazonians worldwide would need to build strong Amazonian communities, because it is very, very necessary that our communities are very strong, because when we have strong communities, we have a strong nation. Um, we are moving on today to touch on a few of the advantages which we couldn't touch on in our first episode. And one of the other things that we'll continue to touch on today is about our uniqueness of Amazonia and why it's important. And the question we're going to Comrade Liman to tell our viewers why, in his opinion, promoting uniqueness of Ambazonia through intercultural exchange contribute to building a stronger sense of identity and unity amongst our people. Over to you, Comrade Liman.
Wow, thank you very much, comrade, for that opportunity. I think community building is the foundation of every modern society. And I want to think that Ambazonians are no exception. And I think that the concept of community building even plays a more fundamental role in the Ambazonian restoration quest, because most of us, we have been exiled from our hometown, we have been exiled from our territory, and we are dispersed all over the world. For example, I think recent statistics shows that we have over 10,000 Ambazonians just in the USA alone who left our territory, and many are still on their way because our country has been torn apart. We have been colonized, and our people are desperate. There's a war going on. I mean, a genocidal war with a lot of people dying. And I think that it is rather unfortunate that we have to regroup ourselves out of our territory. You know, nobody wants to live out of their territory if they have the opportunity to excel and live in peace with justice where they were born. So I think with this unjust system imposed on us, the least we can do is wherever we find ourselves, we come together as a people. And when that happens, that's the only way for us to preserve our identity as a people. You know, our identity did not start in 2016, contrary to what most people think. You know, when they talk about Amber, they think about 2016 and the uprising. We have been a people since 1922, from the League of Nations mandate. We have existed as a nation, right? And that was solidified in 1954 when our parents left Nigeria and decided that they wanted to be on their own. Unfortunately, we were betrayed by the United Nations. And this is the result. We are now scattered all over the world. We have Ambazonians in Switzerland, we have Ambazonians in Kenya, Ambazonians in South Africa, and all over the world. So I think the least we can do is regroup as a people and build this community so that we preserve that identity that La Republique is trying so hard to cover up. You know, even in the speech in DC, we heard how La Republique said in an open mic that they have tried to assimilate us, but we have refused. So this is something real. And I think that the only way for us to stay alive and preserve our communities is for us to regroup wherever we find ourselves. Just as Ambazonians have regrouped in South Africa, in Germany, USA, which is on the making, I think the only way for us to preserve that distinct identity is for us to regroup back as Ambazonians in wherever we find ourselves, build that small community, and push for the restoration of our statehood as it was from April 21st, 1961 till October 1st, 1961, when our independence was recognized and we decided to join these neighbors of ours who have decided to assimilate us. So I think it's very important that we preserve that identity. Thank you very much.
Great, Comrade Liman. You are very right. You know, bringing those pieces of the puzzle together is very, very important for our communities to continue to function and thrive. We know, like you rightly said, we have left home because of the conditions that were imposed on us. Our people have faced persecution. Our institutions have been destroyed right from 1961. It didn't begin in 2016, like you already said. Our people have been sent into the diaspora because they found that there was no condition for them to really unfold themselves to the best versions of themselves while they were in the captivity of the enemy. So now that we are out here in the diaspora, I think it's very, very necessary that we come together and preserve this uniqueness of Ambazonians. You are very correct in that. And in order to do that, we need to build our strong communities so that we can begin again to function as a family, as a nation, even though we are in the diaspora. Thank you so much for making those very strong contributions on that topic. So my next question will go to Chibasaba, and is still on the advantages of building strong Amazonian communities. And we learned that if we have strong Amazonian communities, we are going to be able to do our things synchronize our activities. So, Coach Wasaba, what are some of the practical ways that we can sync our activities with other Amazonian communities worldwide? And how can this synchronization really amplify our collective impact? Over.
Yes, thank you for that question. I mean, because it goes on the practicality, which is an advantage when communities are organized, because if you do not organize the community, you cannot do anything. So practically, the main advantage that lies in this organization of strong community, and in this case, we're talking about organizing strong Amazonian communities, is that when that is done, you calm down. One of the main things that we are actually putting into practice is the physical. Is that we come together, we find time, and again to come together physically whenever it is possible, because that is very important. It is important you build that trust when you sit together face to face and share those ideas. That is the key thing in this thing. You do not keep it virtual, my dear people. Do not keep this thing virtual. And when you have come to that physical interaction, as it was in the past, we have done this. Now, you see, the community is organized. The practicality in it is what? There are a lot of things that we can gain here, but I will just name a few. We do not, when we want to sync our actions, we do not duplicate. We avoid duplicating our efforts. We really avoid duplicating the duplicity of this, of the efforts, And if we have to write a petition, for example, we just did it recently when we wrote to the German parliament. It is easy to do that. That is a practical way of doing it. You don't just say, okay, in Facebook, we have to write petitions or we have to do this. You come together as a collective, put those words together and forward them to the appropriate channels. So, and then I will mention one other point is that when we talk of syncing this thing, please, we try to do it regionally. Start by doing it regionally, like here in Bavaria, in Germany, like in Baden-Württemberg, we sing our activities, we sing those in Germany, and then we try to also sing those activities with those of our neighboring European countries, like France, Italy. So, and we have, that is actually the practicality that we have to go about this, my fellow people. There is no other option or magic in doing this, but going down to it and doing it practically. And I would just want to mention this here because it is a point that has been overlooked about, but it shows trust and then accountability and transparency to the community, to that community that you are about to build. Thank you. Unmute.
Yeah, sorry. So I was saying, I thank you so much for the response that you've given to the question. concerning how we can sync or synchronize our activities after we have those strong Amazonian communities. I think another advantage why we sync our activities is going to have a greater impact. If we do we act homogeneously in our various communities worldwide, I think our action is going to be felt, because that's also the objectives of building strong Amazonian communities, so that when we come out to do something, we do it in all the communities worldwide, and thereby the impact that is going to have will be much bigger than if it's just one community doing that. So I think it's very, very possible to do that when we have functionable communities. Very, very right. And you also talk about the transparency and accountability, of course. When we have comrades that come together, sit in the same room, and they have objectives that have been laid down that they follow, the comrades or the members of such communities, they are privy to whatever is being done, with their desires or with their objectives. And I'm sure through that, it is very, very possible to have a better transparency, especially when it comes to what they do and what they contribute. So I think you already touched on that, and that's one of the great, the beautiful things that we can have when we have strong Amazonian communities. So, fellow comrades, if you're just tuning in onto this our program, we are on part two of building strong Amazonian communities, and you're watching Amber Community Hour. And with me on the studio, you have Comrade Chibasaba from the community in Germany. You have Comrade Lehman from the Amazonian community in the USA. We'll move on to talk about how the procedures, how do we go about building strong Amazonian communities. I would like to give the word to Chibasaba to tell us a few steps, to those who are listening and are ready to start to do something in their community so that they will have to be active. What steps can they take to build their own communities? Over to you, Chibasaba.
Yes. Again, we are on part two on building strong Amazonian communities, especially in the diaspora. And in part one of this episode, we did emphasize on SWOT. So for those who did not watch that, SWOT stands for the strengths, the weakness, the opportunities, and the threats. So if you have to start by that SWOT analysis when you have set out certain goals. That means you sit down together. We had touched that one in part one of our program, during identifying the things that bind you together, identifying you together as Ambazonians. And then when you have done that, you set out the goals for that community. You set it out yourself. You say, okay, and when you've done that, you name the community. You give the community a name, you agree on that name. And then when you have named that community, because you have to, by setting out the goals, from that goals, you will then equally then set up a constitution or a statute or whatsoever you could call it, bylaws or whatsoever, in alignment with the host country. Because if you are living in South Africa, you have to align it to the host country. You name that country, you name the community, and when you have named it and align it to your goals and also with that of the host country, that you are not, then you have to register this community. Those are the three main steps. You register it. The registration allows you so that you do not operate in darkness. We did handle this in the last episode. It gives you that legality, that open legality in your host country to operate officially, so that they know who you are.
Yeah.
So again, you meet together, you set out your goals, you identify them, you create a constitution for yourself, you elect the leaders for that community, the people that you know, that you understand, and who will lead that community for you. And in that person, I mean that each and every one of you. Right? Yes. Just to mention one of those few basic steps, Comrade Babareko.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're right. Yes, because it is very essential that our people get these points, because those are the practical steps that we will have to follow. Laying down a very strong foundation. You already said you elect an executive, and in your community, you know your people, you know who could trust, you know who is competent to do whatever position that you choose them to do that. And I'm sure that will be the beginning of building the strong communities. I'll move straight on to Comrade Liman, to also tell our viewers, especially our fellow Ambazonians, fellow Southern Cameroonians, who are in communities that are not yet organized. We have to really say that not all Amazonian communities are organized. So it is very, very important that they get these points that we are really laying down here, so that they can start building their communities, because it is very, very necessary. This is the time. It is only strong Amazonian communities that are going to do an effective contribution, or make an effective contribution towards alleviating the suffering of people. So I will let Comrade Liman to tell us another steps that we think they are very essential in us for us to have while building strong Amazonian communities. Over to you.
Thank you, Papa Rico. I want to really thank Chief for bringing out those important steps. Those are imperative for any community. As I always say, Ambazonia is not an exception from the rules of law and nature. You know, uh, we have to come down to this realization, and I think it's a sad thing to say. In the early days of the restoration quest, what happened is we had passionate leaders like the Ayaba, the Akwangas, and Bohebet, who tried to step in and guide us towards a trajectory. But what happened is, because they lived in separate countries and separate communities, they formed groups. And now what happened is that they found themselves with members. Some of them are in Germany, some of them are in the USA, some of them are in South Africa. It became very difficult for them to have internal consistency. There was lack of transparency and accountability. It became just dysfunctional, and that is what hit us really hard. Because, for example, you cannot be in Norway and you're managing your members in the USA. You see, or you're trying to run a transparent account where people contribute money, where you live in Norway and they live in South Africa and let's say USA. So it becomes now very necessary that we had to sit back and rethink, right, as we progress in the restoration quest. Now, some mistakes were made during that process. We know about money being contributed to projects like my trip to Boya and the rest, and the money did not achieve the goal that it was intended. So when Baba Eko brought Chief Asaba brought the issue of transparency and accountability, that really struck me hard, because with those communities built, right, you don't have to worry about sending money through PayPal to someone in Germany or someone in South Africa. So your community can come and you guys register yourself, have a bank account, and you contribute your money there directly. If a penny goes missing, since the jurisdiction that you contributed your money in, all of you live there, you can take the person handling the money to court, and they're going to tell you guys how the money was spent, right? If we contributed money for refugees and the refugees still say they don't have anything to eat, if we contributed money for the APOCs, the Ambassador prisoners of war, prisoners of conscience too, and they say we don't have anything to eat, now we can hold that person like, hey, give us receipts. Where did you send this money? So those are the reasons, and I think that Chief Awasaba did a good job highlighting those ones. And I think that one thing which is very important, and I will split it into two. I'll talk about the internal consistency and external perception. When it comes to internal consistency, when Ambazonians come together as a community in a host country, let's say USA, it is easier for us to have a set of rules that we all live by. You understand? And it's
Yeah.
so easy for us to hold people who breach those rules accountable.
Right.
So that is what the internal consistency help us. It brings that functionality that we have been lacking in the restoration of space. Now, when it comes about the external perception, What happened is when Ambazonians in a given country, they come together, they decide to go on strike, or they organize a sit out, or whatever they choose to do, or they want to talk to their congressman, they go there as one people. They no longer go there as small groups. Oh, this is Ayaba faction, this is Sako's faction, this is Chris Anu's faction. No, we go now there as the people who are from the Republic of Southern Cameroon who have been subjugated. Now you see,
Yeah.
brings in now that order and functionality that we have been lacking, and that's one of the good reasons that we need Amazonian communities to muscle up and take the challenge, because we have this ever evolving situation where we will need more resources. For example, we have about 10,000 Ambazonians just in the United States. Imagine that if we were organized and the Ambazonian community in the United States grows strong, and each person was just to contribute $10 a month towards the Amazonian prisoners of conscience and the IDPs and the refugees. Ambazonians themselves can take care of their refugees and IDPs without waiting for the UN. You see? And so it comes with a lot of benefits and advantages. And there are so many ways. As Chief Ayaba said, it's simple. Once you have the inspiration, if your community is not yet mobilized, look for a few friends, look for family members, look for everybody, call them that, hey, listen, let's copy from people like the Jewish community. You see, the Jewish people are one of the few people who were exiled for like over 1,000 years. What they did was they decided to build their communities wherever they found themselves. You still have like Jewish communities in US, a lot of them. You have Jewish community in Ukraine, Jewish community in Poland, Jewish community in France. That is how, when they built those communities, they could now muster support. And in 1947, that is how out of Balfour they created the Israeli settlement state, right? They brought their people from all over the world and they settled in Israel. So those are examples we could emulate. And not only that, I just saying about this, it brought in the economic impact. You know, when you build your community, it provides you economic advantages. For example, let's say we have all Ambazonians, or let's say 10,000 of us. We form an association of Ambazonian community, we beef it up. We are able to open a bank of our own. We are able to open up industries of our own. That our parents will no longer need to sell coffee at cheap prices to La Republique. We can simply say, hey, produce your coffee, sell it to us in the diaspora, and we go to all these big companies and Nestle, and we sell the cocoa there for 5 times the price. You know, they will buy a kilogram of coffee back home for 2,000, 3,000, whereas the same quantity of cocoa in the United States sells for what? $20. That is almost $10,000, 10,000 francs, colonial francs. So you see how
Yeah.
our people are losing out by not being organized in the community. You know, everybody has a community here. Ukrainians, they have a community. Everybody, once you leave your hometown, you find safety in your community. There is safety in numbers. So I cannot overemphasize this. So I think that the most important thing for us is to have that awareness and understand that the way to go is for us to build communities and protect ourselves and push for the restoration of our statehood. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Corima. Um, Pretty sure you've really made some very great contributions there. I mean, looking right far ahead into the future of building strong Amazonian communities. And I think before we get there to where you already reach, I think we really need to we really need to start somewhere, because right now you have already like gone like maybe a few years ahead of what I mean, what we can achieve. You know, I mean, I know the Jewish community, they are stronger. They have a state. Maybe at home they are also not persecuted, but maybe they were persecuted before. You know, with us is we have our people back home, and they count on us in the diaspora, right? And those of us in the diaspora, I know we are a few percentage of those who are back home, and I think the our brothers and sisters, our families, you know, they count a lot on us here in the diaspora. And I think the image that we really portray here will have a very great impact on them. So I think if they see that we in the diaspora were not really organized, we're not functioning well, you know, I think mentally it really, you know, demotivates them. So I think that's also one very, very, very important thing that we should not forget, that our people back home look so high on us. So we really need to start somewhere to build our communities. And if there is any Southern Cameroon Amazon who is listening to us, and you are in a country here in the diaspora, right, and you don't have a community, then it means something is going wrong. Having listened to all the convictions from Comrade Lehman, all the convictions from Chibasaba on this program today, that tells you that you can take an initiative to do something. You can be the one to start. As we said in our last program, building a community starts with two or more people. Start with two of you, come together and said, we will not continue to fold our arms while our people back home are going through this persecution. We will not continue to sit here in the diaspora and enjoy the freedom that was fought by other people here while our people on the ground are being slaughtered. Let us do something. Come together, two of you, start to talk, bring some other ones together that you start to meet physically, and I'm sure, in addition with the tools that we are laying down here, I'm sure you're able to do something to build a strong Amazonian community wherever you are. So it's a challenge to you. If you are any country without an Amazonian community, it means something is going wrong. You have to do something. Take that responsibility. The time has come for us Amazonians to take the responsibility because no one else is going to do that with us. We will move on to talk about other tools that we can really apply in order for us to have those strong Amazonian communities that we really envisage to build. And I will go on again with Chibasaba to maybe have some more points that we can share with our viewers, with fellow Amazonians, on some of the things that we can still do to build strong Amazonian communities. Over to you again, Chibasaba, on the how. How can we go about to build strong Amazonian community? I'm sure you have some other contributions to make on that. Over to you.
Yes, the how. Yeah, I mean, we have really touched on the core, and thank you, Comrade Lehman, for really, I mean, laying hands on where it really matters with those examples. We would love to, if maybe sometime we have the community, even it is just one or two, that can transform itself through this into a kind of like that vision that you just put on forward, like
Yeah,
maybe to procure some of those, just those basic equipments, like the cocoa thing that you just said, because those are the things that make us, but we are not yet there. We are not there. So let's keep on the low hanging fruits.
yeah,
And, this building strong Ambazonian communities, the how, the how, we have touched on it. I do not really have any other extra mile, any extra piece of document, but it is a juxtaposition of, on how building it and the challenges that you face along while you were building this thing. Because the how, because we have already had them, we did elaborate on this in the first part of our program, how we had vibrant societies in 2017 communities. Now they had those challenges, they fell apart. Now we are trying to like a kind of
yeah,
revamp the building up of those strong communities. So if we want to do it, one of those things that we should not fear about to touch, I will have to say this, it's like to dismantle the obsolete structures, Baba Recall and Comrade Lehman, because
yes. Chibasaba, please let me
yes,
just let me just let me just hold it there for a moment. I think before we go to the challenges, um, there were some other things that were, I think, one or two things that maybe we need to mention, on this how. I think maybe you will leave that out. Um, it's very, very important that when we have those strong Amazonian communities, that we will have to carry out activities,
oh yes, yes,
things,
for
not physical
sure. I mean,
activities,
it
right?
goes without saying, yeah, the
Yeah,
cultural part of it, yeah, and the
exactly. Yeah,
advocacy that comes with it. Yeah, I
exactly.
did, yes,
Exactly.
like in the first part when I was talking, I did talk about the litigation and writing of petitions as a
Solutions,
collective, to add to that, you just mentioned, it's like to manifest to when you have done that you come out openly. You come
yeah,
out openly. We did touch that one in the first part of our program, But let us give a recap on that particular one. You come out because the essence of building these strong communities is what? Is that we want to sell our case to the host country. We want to communicate between ourselves. Yeah. Then we want to promote our culture in our host countries.
Very important.
We want to let them know also, and most importantly, about the plight. That is something. And when we are talking about it, talking about the plight and the suffering of our people on the ground in Ambazonia. That is something that we talk as a community. I'm not talking as a Sawankan for more for but I'm talking as a member of a community that has been registered, that is known to the authorities where we are based. But this does not avoid me talking to my neighbors and some other co-workers about the plight of our people, but doing it as a community and coming out openly and manifesting it that way through cultural activities
Yeah.
is also one of that very, very core and key component that building a strong Ambazonian community is. What word did you use for that? Imperative.
Yeah, it's
So
very imperative. Okay.
yes,
Shiva, thank you so much. Let me keep it there. Let me hold you there. As you look, it looks like we will have to speed up a bit because of our time. I think you already made mention of the challenges. So the next thing that we would like to talk about are the challenges. We know we can't go ahead to build our communities without having some challenges. So it is also very imperative that we share those challenges with our fellow comrades so they're aware of it, so that they can put on some more beef, as they go about building strong Amazonian communities. And one of these challenges that we have noticed is the fear. We have many of our people here who are living in the diaspora that are even afraid of coming together as Amazonians, to do something. Maybe they see themselves like they are afraid of being persecuted, afraid of going to jail, afraid of even speaking up, afraid of standing up for their people. So these are some of the challenges that we have also noticed that some of our people, they would really exhibit such characteristics. But I think we are here not to promote fear, but to encourage our people that when we have a strong Amazonian community that is functional, we have our objectives, we have our goals, and these Amazonian communities are registered, and we have activities that we carry out in line with our communities, and there's no need to be afraid. We have like what Comrade Shasma just said a few minutes ago. You organize demonstrations, you apply for a permission to go out and demonstrate, and the authorities give you the permission and they grant you the permission to demonstrate because in the communities in which we live, these are rights that have to be exercised. All the citizens have the right to exercise these basic rights, so you can't be denied that. So those permissions are issued and you are free to go out there and speak of your mind. Is it talking about genocide in Amazonia? You are free to do that. Is it talking about the burning of our people alive, burning down of our villages? The injustice that is going on in our homeland. These are things that we shouldn't be afraid to talk about because it is part of the dignity of a human, you being a human, and having empathy for what is going on in our people. You shouldn't be afraid to do that. So that's the least that we can do. So I think we should really take out this aspect of fear, which is one of the aspects that we think that we have seen, we have witnessed, that has been exhibited by our people. So I will move on to give a word to Chibasama to talk about maybe some of the challenges that he has faced, maybe in his own community on this campaign, to build strong Amazonian communities. Over to you, Chibasama.
yes, you did just mention it. We can talk about the challenges in as much as they are there. I prefer to call them, yeah, are they challenges? Yes, there are challenges, but, there are, especially in the community here downtown in Bavaria, I just want to mention this. There is a certain sense of laxity, okay? that laxity. I don't know how to put it, any other word for that. And I also witnessed that some do that just it's a kind of an excuse, giving excuses for not having done this or that. Fellow Ambazonians, we are out here to build strong Ambazonian communities. And I would prefer to say this, that the challenges is that we face is the people to come out openly, like, even when they know very well that this is the community, this is registered, it stands for this, they still do not want to open up. They still do not want to come up. But we have realized that. And one of the things that I want to say here is that the community that you register and that has been legally identified in your host country, that community also gives you protection. Through these challenges, as we see, it is this through same community that will give you the challenge, that will give you protection through so many things that I cannot name here, but it also gives you the protection. We advise our members, we stand together in times of difficult times as well. And especially to the new members of the Ambazonian community that come to the ground, and to every community that is in the building, that is in the making, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Ambazonians. When that community is built or it is in the building, one of the issues that you address is you already know, those who are already on the ground, they already understand the challenges that are there, and they can be there to help the new members of the community.
Very, very correct, Chibasawa. Let me hold you on there, Chibasawa, as we're about to wrap up. Thank you so much for that contribution. I will move to Comrade Liman. I know he has been making a lot of efforts, trying to revamp Amazonian communities here in the diaspora. I'm sure he has also faced some challenges. Comrade Liman, what are some of the challenges that you have faced in the efforts that you have made, that you are making to build strong Amazonian communities? Over.
Thank you very much, comrade. I want to thank you for this opportunity again to share with you some of the things we have been doing. I think that the biggest problem we face as Ambazonians is, I'll call it institutional ignorance. So what happened is, during the process of subjugation and assimilation, the Republic was very careful to decimate all the structures that were created prior to 1961. And so our people became disoriented, and we don't really know how to organize ourselves. That has played a very big factor. And that is the big challenge we face, trying to organize ourselves. When it comes to us gaining grounds as individuals, excelling, we are very good. But when we come together as a community, chaos always steps in. The reason is because we are not very savvy when it comes to institutional setup, because we had the misfortune that we joined La République and they went ahead to dismantle every institution we had. And so it left us lacking understanding how systems are built and how we function in modern society. But notwithstanding, those are just some of it. But again, before we go there, what I want people to understand is that the reason we want communities to be built and registered is to decriminalize the Ambazonian concept. What La Republic has done is they have gone on a careful move, right? That move is to do what? Make Ambazonia look as if it is it's a killing project. It's all about killing. You understand? But that's not true. Ambazonia is bigger than killing. Ambazonia is bigger than fighting. Ambazonia is a people, first of all. We are a people. We are a legal construct, which means that we were created by a law. United Nations General Assembly Resolution 1608 voted to recognize us as an independent state. It is there. You can go and Google it. In Resolution 1608, our independence was recognized. We had territorial demarcations. We had a population. We had a government. We had a form of government. We have a head of state. So what La République did was to dismantle it and make you feel like if you're asking for the restoration of your statehood, you are a criminal. And so many people in the diaspora became scared because they still have families back home, you see, and they don't want to be seen as they are the one trying to divide the Cameroon in quotes, whereas there is nothing as one Cameroon. So we have these real fears that people face. They want to go back home and they don't want to be seen in public saying they were Amber. And now, and I will be very upfront with you guys. I have even family members who don't identify with me because they say you guys are the one trying to divide Cameroon. And I tell them that listen, it is one thing to be ignorant, but it's another thing to be self-deceiving, right? Ambazonians should understand that the reason we are asking them to stop the virtual groups that we started with is not because we hate Ayaba or we hate Ayok or we hate Akwanga or Chris Anu, because they have their virtual groups that they use and they call themselves presidents. No, that's not the reason. The reason is that we want to move from that virtual existence so people can see us in the neighborhood and know, oh, these are those people who are being persecuted for restoring their statehood, which was voted at the United Nations General Assembly. That brings context. So it is good that our people understand that being an Ambazonian is not illegal. That is why we want to push communities to go a step further by registering themselves, telling their host community that their host country that, hey, look, we are here.
We are right here. We are here.
Exactly. They need to know that we are here. They don't only need to see us when we are trying to file for asylum. That's when you become a Southern Cameroonian. After they approve your asylum, you disappear into the woods, right? And they start saying that one thing. I know them for that one thing. Whereas you are in this country because you file for asylum, that you are a Southern Cameroonian. And imagine that if these countries choose to be petty, right? After they grant you asylum, they start going behind to see if you actually attend those meetings. So what I'm saying is this: our people need to be open, honest, and sincere with themselves. Asking for the restoration of your statehood is not illegal. It's an inalienable birthright that all Ambazonians should be proud of. And now I think that has been my biggest challenge, because let's say we start a project like building up the Southern Cameroon community in the USA. The first meeting you have 150 people. The second meeting you have 50 people. The third meeting only 2 people show up, right? Because what they want to do is what I call cut short or mapam. Let me use it in pidgin so that people understand. It's called mapam. What they want to do is they want to hide behind and let others do the work, and then they'll come back and say, I was supporting from behind. But again, you will be self-deceiving to do such things. So what I can only say is our people need to own up, know that the communities they're building is, 1, to protect themselves, 2, is to make their plight known, and 3 is also to encourage those back home to see that, hey, see, we are doing something, hanging tight. Thank you very much, and I really appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Comrade Liman. You have made very, very great points there that have also not talked about the challenges, but about the reason for people to be engaged. The reason for us, you have also addressed the part of the fear that I also talk about, the challenges. Like, there's no need for any Ambazonian in the diaspora to be afraid, to stand there for Ambazonia, to move around with a flag in your car, all those things. People are there who will not even want to identify themselves with that. No, I see it as cowardice. Our people, we have to wake up. We have to show the world that our people are worthy. The people who have been slaughtered are worthy. Thank you so much for those great points. I know because of time constraint, we will have gone deeper into that. But I'm sure probably we'll look forward to coming to part 3 or to the 3rd episode of this program, Building Strong Amazonian Communities. So, fellow viewers, I think we were about to wrap up for today. But before I ask the panelists to give their final words, I will once more remind our viewers, please, to subscribe to the Amber Community Hour channel on YouTube. And also, please like and share our contents with your friends and families so that this content, can be widely disseminated so that our people can get this message and continue and start to act upon it so that our people back home can have hope to know that their brothers and sisters whom they have looked upon for so many years are not letting them down because they at home have nowhere to go. So we here in the diaspora might think we have a place, but our place is back home. So please, let's not continue to be in slumber. Let us wake up and do what we are supposed to do. So I will now let you on the panel to make your final contribution for the program for today so that we can wrap up. Please just be brief because we are already out of time. So I will start with Chibasaba. Over to you. Final words to our viewers.
Yes. Thank you for Comrade Babareko for the and Comrade Liman for the wonderful program we've just had. We've had the opportunity to share some ideas. We've touched about the advantages. We've spoken about the how. We've touched about the challenges, which is something and not ending. But thank you again, Comrade Liman, for those points that you just made, because Amber community, our fellow Ambazonians, is a place, and this program, we have really made it that we come here to share ideas, what we experience as communities in the ground. And that is the essence of this program. I was happy to be here today to share these ideas with you. Please stay tuned, and greetings again back to you, fellow Ambazonians, fellow Southern Cameroonians on the ground, from Fako to Donga Mantung, and here out in the diaspora. Thank you.
Thank you, Chibasaba, for those final words to our viewers. Comrade Liman, may you say a word, the final words on the program for today.
Yes, I want to thank you guys very much, first of all, for inviting me here. And I hope next time I will be able to join you guys in this wonderful program. And I want to thank the viewers. And hopefully we get to meet again sometimes in the future and share on how to continue to build our communities. I want to send a special shout out to my community in the USA. We have a lot of works on the pipeline. We are hoping that we shall meet in the future and promote our Ambazonian uniqueness and work on creating that vibrant Southern Cameroon community in the US, stretching from the West Coast to the East Coast, from the South to the North. And our people will see that we are not just here, enjoying the freedom in the United States, but we are also working hard to make sure that that same freedom, we have it in Ambazonia, and our children can grow and live in prosperity. Thank you very much, Baba Reko. Thank you for your technical team. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Comrade Liman, for coming on to Amber Community Hour to participate for your first time on this program. Like I said before in the beginning of this program that we look forward to seeing you here. I want to thank you so much. I thank also Chibasaba for the contributions that you have made for the program of today, which has been the episode 2 of Building Strong Amazonian Communities. And we want to talk to our fellow comrades, fellow Ambazonians, fellow Southern Cameroonians all over the world that accept greetings from Amber Community Hour. And please do take our words serious. Please try to implement the suggestions that we are making here on this program. And we look forward to seeing you here on Amber Community Hour. Amber Community Hour is a place for all Ambazonians in the diaspora. So please come here and tell us what you are doing so that together we can build a synergy, together we can build a network that is going to build a momentum and encourage our people back to step up and take their responsibilities to free our homeland. So we look forward to seeing you again on Amber Community Hour.